Well, Jonathan Davies is an economist and wealth manager from Hertfordshire. Good morning to you, Jonathan. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
So what does Ed Balls have to do then to restore public confidence in Labour's spending policy?
He has to reject basically everything that Labour has done for the last 50 years economically. I'm not being trite, because the reality is that every time there's a change of government, with Labour having been in, the new government has to sort out the problems that the previous lot left us with. And I fully appreciate that Labour continue to say, and Ed Balls continues to say, it wasn't Labour's fault that the global economy melted down in 2008. Well, that's as may be. However, it was Labour's fault that from 2002 to 2010, they spent more than they were taking in taxes. And also, a couple of weeks ago, he stood up in the House of Commons and apologised for financial services regulation failure. Well, actually, I would say to Mr. Balls, that was the biggest thing you got wrong. There's no point apologising for it now. You had 13 years to do something about it.
But were they not investing in the country in the same way that, for example, a homeowner would invest in improving their property?
No, the reality is, and anyone needs to look at the figures, anyone can find this out, they weren't investing in hospitals and schools, which they tell us down our throats all the time. They were investing in public sector salaries. Look at how the salaries for teachers and nurses and lecturers went through the roof in the last decade. And in terms of investing in the schools and hospitals and the roads, they borrowed vast amounts under the private finance initiative, which we're now having to pay off over the next 25 years. And, of course, the numbers that they paid for it were ludicrous. No, they didn't invest. They borrowed and they bought votes.
Jonathan, thank you very much indeed. There's Jonathan Davies, who's an economist and wealth manager from Hertfordshire, and Ed Balls' speech and the Labour conference will be discussed on Drive Time this evening with Roberto Perroni. There'll be more on midday as well in an hour's time here on BBC Three Counties.